Do you want to know how to handle a gifted child with a discipline problem? I'm Nicholeen Peck. I actually was a gifted child, and so I can tell you a little bit from personal experience, but also I teach parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, education all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And we're going to talk about self-government and helping the gifted child succeed. In this video, we're going to talk about gifted children and why they struggle sometimes and maybe even seem like they need a little bit more discipline than other children who would not be classified as gifted. And then what type of tone and structure is the right mix for that gifted child to be able to take some responsibility for themselves and maybe get some of those behavioral problems under control. First off, there's something you have to understand about the gifted child, and that is that they are thinking and analyzing and processing all of the time. They are very, very engaged in their environment around them. Even if they're not saying anything, they are thinking about it. They are reading more into what you say than what is actually there. When they read a book or a passage from a book in a classroom, they have filled in a whole bunch of like the social gaps, or they've connected some of the information to other bits that they're learning. So they jump quicker to that syntopical, deep level learning. It's just easier for them. Their cognitive function is more sharp. It's a little bit more mature and acute. And so they're able to appeal to that cognitive to be able to reason things out. This means that if you're going to help them with any behavioral problem whatsoever, it's absolutely got to make sense. Okay? If it doesn't make sense, if it just seems emotional, then they're going to just be like, oh, they're trying to manipulate me. Oh, they're just trying to get me to do stuff. You know, and they don't want to be told to do stuff because they actually know how to self-motivate really well. Usually, most gifted people, because they can see all of the pieces before them, it's like as if it just opens up to this bigger picture for them. They know how to control themselves. Whether they want to or not is a totally different thing. So what do we really have to appeal to? They have to have a desire for it. They have to see a reason why. There has to be a purpose that's compelling to them. And usually that purpose can come back down to the relationships. Like, what do I really want out of these relationships? What does this person actually mean to me? Then they'll start developing a sense of duty in that relationship. If they're just in it for themselves and we don't bring it to any kind of a deeper level for them, they're going to say, why? What's the point? What do I get out of that? That's just for you, for your own peace of mind. Why should I care about that? And so sometimes they can seem a little bit harsh, like callous, maybe a little uncaring. They definitely can look like they're getting distracted a lot, and that's usually just because they're bored. Really. Gifted children have heightened sensitivity, heightened awareness to things that are going on around them because they're processing at such a fast, high level. And so because of that, sometimes they can seem annoyed quicker. They can seem just more intense in general. Okay, when they're focused, they're like focused. They're more intense. And when they don't want to focus on whatever it is, when they're like, that's a complete waste of my time, then they're intense about that too. Like, no, you can't make me. Why? It's kind of hard because this person actually has a lot of maturity, and sometimes they're even very acutely aware that they see things that their parent doesn't see, that they see pieces of the puzzle that nobody else is recognizing. My dad used to tell me, Nicholeen, you see things that other people don't see. You have more maturity. You have wisdom beyond the years that you are. That makes life hard for you. That's what he would tell me. And I was glad he told me that. I have to honestly say, because it was hard. It was hard to be looking at what was going on around me and go, wait, do people not see that that behavior is manipulative? That is never going to work. I've never been a parent before, but I can see a parent's behavior to another child and go, that's not going to work. I know that. I can hook the dots together because I can see past what other people can see in the moment. And maybe that's why I do the things that I do, because those things related to relationships, related to behaviors, to communications, to systems, those types of things were the things that were like my main thing that I would go to solve all of my problems when I was young. Maybe that giftedness has helped, but was it ever frustrating for my parents? Oh, you bet. It was absolutely frustrating for my parents. I'm pretty sure I gave them all of their gray hairs. I think they thought the other children were like, okay, well, they're just sticking their tongue out. That's easy. This person is raising us off of a cliff and we don't know how to stop it, and it was difficult. And so I didn't always value their authority. It wasn't that I didn't care about them. I did. I loved them and I wanted their affection. I didn't always get it because I didn't value their authority. I didn't hook those dots together. You'd think I would have been smart enough to get that. But no, just because someone's gifted doesn't mean they put all the cause and effect together all the time. No, they still make stupid choices. And I did that. I wasn't accepting their authority a lot of the time because I felt like they didn't see some very obvious things. And if they didn't see obvious things around them, how could I trust their judgment on anything? And that's where your gifted child might be at, okay? And it's a hard place to be. It also feels kind of lonely too. You're alone with your own thoughts. Other people don't understand. And sometimes when you share them, they don't care or they think you're impertinent or rude. And so to teach the person how to come across in a way where they can be socially acceptable, not interrupt people a lot of times, all the time. A lot of gifted people interrupt all the time because they're thinking so many thoughts and they know that they could add something right then that could make a difference. And so they just want to stop what you're saying to help give you the piece that you need so that they don't have to listen to it because it's too much. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. I had to control interrupting for myself. I had to learn to take the wisdom that I had, the knowledge that I had, the abilities that I had to think and point them toward understanding the people. Wait, what's going on in there? What would it take for a person to behave that way? But you know what it takes to get a gifted person to that place in those behavioral aspects? It takes a lot of maturity and a lot of caring. So you've got to start with a place of identity. Who are we in this group? Where are we going? What are we hoping to accomplish? Now, if you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know that I am all about relationships. And truthfully, even though I wasn't super successful in all of my relationships when I was young, because I was, figuring things out like a lot of other young people, my parents consistently required that I respected them, that I followed their instructions, that I honored them. That was non-negotiable. Even if I wanted to talk to them about things, we would talk about it. But if they felt like I needed to honor their decision on a certain thing, that was it. And I had to learn to do that. And I'm glad they did that because in the end, it really helped me learn I have to find my place in every relationship I'm at, because there's a place where you can communicate and have healthy interactions and even share really deep and exciting ideas and still be able to maintain respect and not take over a conversation. So I had to learn that. And I know there's a lot of people that have to learn that, but until they do, they end up having a lot of discipline problems because they're just not able to rein it in. So you've got to give them that picture of the family vision that they need. Now, in my TSG parenting course, I talk about family vision. I talk about roles, how to teach children about their roles, about your roles as well as their roles, because it's important for them to understand who each other is, right? And then the different skills of communication. So there's the 4 basic skills where they can learn to disagree appropriately with you. That one's golden. I wish I would have had that. My parents were really great at allowing me to have a voice, but I pushed it too far a lot, and they didn't direct me as often as maybe they should have when I was trying to have a voice. And if we would have had that skill, disagree appropriately, I think it would have made a big difference, because all of my really strong-willed, very gifted children that I had come through my home, they used that skill, and it was like always their favorite skill, because finally they could just get understood and get everything out that they needed to, but also seek to understand the other person. So super important. So those 4 basic skills, one of them being disagree appropriately, is going to be really important to teach those things to your gifted child. And then, you know what you have to do? You have to set up the boundaries. They don't like them. They may push against them, but you've got to have them. But you don't have to do it in an aggressive way, okay? I felt like my mother was the emotional one. Love her to death. I think I learned to care about people in a different way because of her. She was more emotional, prone to, stress and depression and stuff like that. But my dad, he was the logical. He could still get emotional, don't get me wrong, but he was more of like the logical, like patient. Okay, we can talk about this. Let's have a conversation. And I'm really glad that he did behave that way with me, because it allowed me to see that someone would take the time to listen to me. Dad would always listen to me. Mom sometimes did not have the bandwidth because I was like, debating her all the time, okay? But Dad, because he was actually a debate coach and probably gifted himself, he was like, okay, we're going to take some time to talk about these things. So it is important that the tone that you have in the teaching with your gifted child is this tone of, I will understand, I am patient, I will take the time. This is not a big deal. This is just a learning thing. It shouldn't be about you exercising authority over them. That is going to backfire every time. It needs to be about you bringing them on board with more knowledge, more maturity, more adult skills. Those are the things that they need in order to succeed. Now, do they need to know their boundaries, and do they need to know who the authority figure is? Yes, they do. But to just declare, because I'm the boss, that's why, backfire. It's not going to work. They're going to push against you. But if you say, let's talk about our roles, okay, then you get in the moment. So now everyone understands their roles. You get in the moment and you say, well, this is a roles issue. This is something I feel like I need to teach you. My role is teacher, and your role is learner. And this is one of those that you're going to have to learn, even though I know it's annoying to you to do so. That type of understanding tone and patient tone, but also maintaining the structure that preserve the roles, is powerful. So what other things can we do to preserve the roles that can be so powerful? Well, make sure that you correct the things that need corrections. You praise the things that need praising. Do make sure that you acknowledge all the great things that you see. A gifted person starts to disconnect from the people around them if they don't actually value what they bring to the table. And they bring a lot to the table, okay? They have insights that are exciting, that are at the very least fun to discuss, and you need to take the time to have those conversations with them. But also, make sure that you correct them and point them in the right direction when they're not using their skills that you've taught them that they should use, especially those ones that are going to preserve roles and maintain the ability to do that teaching that they need. They're not perfect yet just because they're smart. They actually know that. They're that smart. But they're not going to probably admit it anytime soon. So just make sure that you keep doing that teaching, keep doing it consistently. There's a lot more that I have that I could help you with on this. So if you go to teachingselfgovernment.com, there is a TSG parenting course there in the store. There's also 3-day trainings that I do. There's books and resources, but that course or that 3-day training, that's the best way to learn all about teaching self-government for yourself and your children. Will help you get back to a place of calmness and be able to solve all of those problems. So go to teachingselfgovernment.com. I'll see you there.